Well, millions of federal dollars set aside to help suicidal veterans went untouched in 2018. Now Congressman Vern Buchanan is calling for answers, and local veterans are calling for change. ABC 7's Jess Dowdrick explains.
This study done by the U.S. Government Accountability Office concluded that the Veterans Health Administration isn't doing enough to try to prevent veteran suicide. The VHA's excuse? A lack of leadership. According to the Department of Veteran Affairs, every 72 seconds, an American veteran takes his or her life. And the federal organization created to help our soldiers, the Department of Veteran Affairs, isn't using the federal funds allocated to them to help change the epidemic. According to a recent GAO report, $6.2 million was set aside in 2018 for suicide prevention outreach. The Department of Veteran Affairs Veterans Health Administration only spent about $57,000 worth of it. That's less than 1%. The report claims that as a result, the VHA may not have exposed suicidal veterans to the support they needed.
I think it'd make a big difference. I don't know what that number would be, but there's no question that it would start to stem the tide in terms of veteran suicide, and that's really what, my passion's about. Is
Congressman Vern Buchanan wrote this letter to United States Secretary of Veteran Affairs Robert Wilkie, expressing his shock and irritation regarding the VA's lack of spending.
I think they do a lot of good things, like our national cemetery here locally. There's a lot of positive things they do. A lot of the benefits that veterans get are pretty good, but there are some things they dropped the ball on. Obviously, this is one that's not acceptable, and I'm going to be very passionate to make sure it gets addressed.
Secretary Wilkie did not respond, according to Congressman Buchanan, but in the GAO report blamed the lack of outreach on leadership turnover.
No, that's not acceptable. They need the leadership, and if they don't have the right leadership, they need to go, and we'll get the right leadership, and I'm committed to that.
In a statement to ABC 7, a spokesman for the VA said, quote, "The VA appreciates the congressman's views and will respond to him directly." They went on to say that the National Director of Suicide Prevention position was vacant for 9 months during David Shulkin's brief tenure as secretary, and that Dr. Keita Franklin has since been appointed to the role since Wilkie took over as secretary. According to that same VA spokesperson, the organization accepts the GAO's recommendation to do more to evaluate effectiveness of suicide prevention media outreach.